They're coming for us. Get them. Get them. They're coming in hot.
I got one.
Don't get cocky, kid.
But it's a Pod Bros podcast.
What do you mean it's a podcast? You haven't been shooting? They're all over the place.
Well, no, but they've got all sorts of good shows like Pencil and Ink Reviews and The Guy Huddle and Players vs. Podcasts. I mean, was I supposed to?
Yes. What? How many podcasts do they have?
There's tons. You got other ones like The Accidental Wrestling Fan and Take Aim Outdoors.
That kind of sounds like we should make podcasts, not war.
Aww. What's up, everybody? I'm Richard.
And I'm Shawn.
And we're speaking the language of bromance. And what better way to have to like celebrate us as bros and celebrate us as men, Shawn. That's what we are today.
We've aged.
Maybe just for today, but that's what we are. What better way to celebrate that than by touting a man's movie? It's a man's movie, Shawn. I say it's a man's movie, but I mean it goes kind of feminist towards the end. But I'm saying Mad Max Fury Road.
I went and saw it probably about a week ago. You just saw it
I have just seen it. I have we're talking I've walked out of the theater less than an hour ago. So it's fresh. So you're getting real time first impression from me right here.
So on a scale, let's start with a scale of 1 to 10. What'd you think?
Okay, I feel like I should break this down into categories.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're not really a movie review podcast, so we don't really have a good format for this. But
no, but it's okay. It's okay. We'll make it up as we go. It's fine. It's fine. Shooting from the hip. Do it live. Okay. So, number 1, let's go with story. Honestly, the story was a little weak. And okay, but let's preface this whole thing spoilers.
Yeah.
But obviously. One thing I will say, and I've actually heard some other people say it, that I could spoil the fuck out of this movie for you. And I think this relates to the story. I could spoil the fuck out of this movie for you. And it's not really going to make you want to or not want to go see it.
Well, the thing I love about the story is, I mean, there's not, like you said, there's not really much of a story per se, because it just kind of happens. All this stuff is happening.
Well, not just that. I mean, let's break it down simply. They drive way out into the desert, only to at the emotional climax of the movie, turn around and go right back where they came from.
And that's where Tom Hardy has the most lines in the whole movie.
Exactly. All right. So there's first thing. They drive out in the desert and then come back.
Well, let's focus on the actual story, because I kind of thought about this as I was watching it. The thing I really liked about it is they didn't really come out and say much of what was happening. In a lot of stories, the people in it are kind of telling the audience what's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of exposition. I was kind of waiting for that. I was waiting for the exposition as to, why the world has been turned all topsy-turvy, and why that it's this dystopia society and all that. I was waiting for it, but it never really came. And honestly, I'm totally cool with that.
Well, I'm not even thinking that. I'm thinking the guy who was the warlord or whatever, and his wives. I was expecting somebody to come out and be like, he did this and this and this, and that's why he's the warlord, and these ladies are this and this and this to him. But it was, I mean, you just watch it and you're like, oh, okay, I know what these girls are to this guy. Nobody said anything, but it makes sense. Okay, yeah. I know this guy's the warlord over here and he controls the water, so that makes sense. So everything was really just shown to you, and it wasn't like explained to you. Like you had to actually, you didn't even have to really think that hard. But instead of the movie coming out and telling you blah 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 blah.
The breadcrumbs were kind of there. You're like, okay, these are this guy's, these are the wives of this guy, and they got taken, and obviously he's pissed off about it. Okay, I get it. And like you said, like you didn't have to think that hard about it. So I'm totally fine with them just not having to like, break it down like a 5-year-old for me.
Yeah.
Because it saves time that we don't have to hear about it. I figured it out, so let's go. Let's keep going.
And what I loved about that is like there's a lot of movies where you can feel that lull. So you're like, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick because I know whatever's gonna happen, I'm not really gonna miss anything. But with this, it really felt like if you got up and left, you would have missed something pretty pivotal. It might have just been explosions, but
it's like I'm trying like the complete opposite of that would be something like in Lord of the Rings, like the first one, Fellowship of the Ring, where everybody's sitting around the big ring at Council of Elrond. Like they're all sitting around and they're all talking about what to do with the ring and who's going to take the ring, who's going to, what are we going to do with the ring? Are we going to let's take it to, Mount Doom. Who's going to take it? I'll take it. No, I'll take it. And then Frodo's like, I'll take it. La, la, la. And then everybody like joins in. Like that is the moment where you're like, I know what's going to happen here. I've seen the trailer.
I want to go take a piss and come back.
The book's been out for the last like 60 years. I know what's going to happen. So I don't need this, So, and then, I mean, to me, that's what the opposite of this is, where nothing's really explained to you, but you kind of figure it out as you go. And you honestly, like, you don't, with the way this story goes, you don't really need it.
Oh no, I mean it's bad guys versus good guys, and you got your semi-anti-hero with Mad Max, which honestly he didn't even need to be in this movie. Like it could have been the Furiosa movie.
No, he didn't. It was a total Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah.
Where I mean, I don't know if anybody's kind of figured this out, and I mean, I love Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's a amazing movie, but one of the things that I have to point out is that you didn't need Indiana Jones in that movie. He could have not been in that movie, and everything would have happened exactly the same. Like the Nazis would have still found the Ark eventually. They would have taken it to the little island. They would have opened it up, and then they would have all died. The fact that Indiana Jones is there is completely tertiary. He doesn't need to be there. Mad Max in this movie doesn't really need to be there. I mean, I think there was a couple moments where they're in the marsh, or the kind of the muddy area, and he goes and fights off the one car. And then he kind of convinces them to turn around and go back at one point. So I would say he's more pivotal in the story than Indiana Jones was in Raiders.
Well, and that's the thing, like the part where he's most pivotal, I mean, obviously going out and catching up with him and be like, no, we should probably turn around and go back. That's our best bet.
Yeah.
But the part where he goes back and fights basically the bullet group, the clan that builds bullets.
Yeah.
That would have been his like hero moment, and they didn't even show it, which I thought was pretty awesome. He comes back, he's all covered in blood, and he reaches in, he's like, "What's this?" And the one girl's like, "It's mother's milk." He's like wiping it off, and the one girl's all like, "Oh,"
and they're like, "You're bleeding," and they're like, "It's not his."
Yeah, Furiosa's like, "Oh God, that's not his blood. This dude is fucked up."
I mean, yeah, I would. Yeah, I mean. He wasn't really central to the story, but I mean he's there, and okay. Also, like, for the first like 20-30 minutes, he's chained to the front of a fucking car with a fuck. You don't even see for the first like half hour, like you don't even see his goddamn face. He's got this like man in the iron grill, and he's got his half of his Bane costume still on.
Yeah, it's the thing you don't know. It's like, well, is this Mad Max or is this the prequel to The Dark Knight Returns?
I don't understand why they have me chained to this car.
He did kind of use his Bane voice in this movie too. I don't know if you noticed that.
I did notice that, and it kind of took me out for a second.
You go this way. You don't know what's out
Go
there.
this way.
But we go back. We know what's over there.
So, okay, so bottom line, the story wasn't it's very linear. Like, we're going this way. Oh, now we're going this way. Like, that's it. That's the story.
The one thing I did like though, and this might be jumping a little too far ahead, but with the story in a lot of movies like this, whenever a character like you look at it and like the character like seems to have died, they actually haven't. So the part I'm thinking of is the pregnant girl that fell out of the truck.
Yeah.
He's like, no, she went under the tire, or she went under the tire. And so the whole time I'm thinking, like, why did they didn't show that? So is she still
Only
alive?
when she goes under the tire does she have my permission to die.
But so like I was expecting her to actually still be alive and maybe them save her at the end, but no, she died. She was actually dead.
Yep.
And so I was like,
she did.
Kudos to that. That's cool.
She's dead, Jim. Yeah, that happened.
And then when they ripped the mask off of Toe Cut, did you realize that the villain in this was the original villain from the original Mad Max?
Yes, it was Toe Cutter.
Yeah.
Yes. Which I was kind of hoping that they would like connect it.
Yeah. That would have been pretty sweet.
But they didn't.
But when they ripped his mask off and like he's dead, like I was like, well, it seems like kind of a quick way to die. And so I was expecting there to be like a twist fight at the end, but nope, that dude's dead.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really like that kind of aspect of the story because you're sitting there expecting for this. Oh nope, the person's not dead, but they stuck with it. It's like no, he has his mask torn off. He's dead.
It doesn't fall into those movie cliches that you see. Where like, oh, like you're expecting someone to be not dead, and then oh no, they really are. Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah, and at this point,
it doesn't fall what's the word I'm looking for? Tropes. It doesn't fall into like those kind of tropes that you would see out of movies like this.
Which is crazy because like that's probably the more realistic. I mean, obviously it's not realistic because there's a lot of stuff going on where Mad Max should have died like 30 times. But, realistically, if, somebody falls out of a moving vehicle, they're probably going to get run over by a tire and they're going to die. It's just, I mean, that's kind of a realistic feel, but most movies don't play on that. They have that trope, like you said. So it's almost the anti-trope. And so you're sitting there expecting for that person to still be alive, but they go against it and, just kind of, it's a twist in its own way.
Yeah. Because it's kind of playing on it's kind of playing on your Deus Ex Machina about to quote some drop a Latin bomb here, to where because you're outside, because you're watching a movie, you're expecting certain things because it's a movie. And so when that doesn't happen, even though it's completely realistic in the story, for a second it kind of throws you off because it's not what you expect in a movie.
Yeah,
you're seeing it as a movie.
Expecting that movie magic that doesn't happen.
Right. Okay, so story, I would say overly is very linear and very simple. But the thing of it is, and I mean, I'm a sucker. I love story. I am a sucker. I'm a sucker for a good story. Like when I play video games, I like story. I like story in my video games. My favorite game is Skyrim because that is chock full of fucking story, So all that being said, I still love the movie. Even though the story was kind of simple and kind of linear, I still love this movie. And the reason is because they blow some shit up.
Oh, yeah, they do.
Not only do they blow some shit up, they blow some shit up good.
The thing I was going to talk about with the story, though, that I liked is that I can't remember. So go ahead with the stuff blowing up. I kind of lost my train of thought.
Yeah, see, I say explosions. See, that's what I'm saying. This is a man movie. I say explosions, and you're like, "Hey, yeah, story. Well, who cares?"
I had a
Whatever.
thought, oh yeah, all that shit that was getting blowed up real good. But you were kind of talking about it before. I mean, most of this stuff was, I mean, besides the tornado and stuff like that, it was actual effect. Like they were actually blowing shit up.
Yeah, there. I mean, and I think that's something that everybody should know before they go see the movie, because to me, that added a whole new level of holy shit to it for me. Like I saw some reviews, and I've read some stuff up on the movie before I went and saw it, and they had, the one thing I saw is that this wasn't like, hey, let's, have a desert and we'll put our CGI cars in there and we'll drive them around and shit'll happen and la la la. No, no, no. Not with George Miller and not with Mad Max Fury Road. They went to the desert for 18 months and built these fucking cars and drove them around and blew them the fuck up. And the fact that they did that, for me personally, made the movie so much better.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, you think about it too, like you said, George Miller. I mean, this is a 70-year-old dude who got, I think this was like $100 million+ movie. Goes out to the
like
desert.
150 million.
Yeah, goes out to the desert for a year and a half and just gets to blow this shit up. And like it's not like they talked about him and another guy who wrote this script, and like I don't really know what would be in the script. I mean, essentially be like, okay, cars go this way, lots of shit happens, then they come back, a lot more shit happens, few words,
The script's like 10 pages.
Yeah. Shit blows up, ending, Mad Max walks away, winking at, Furiosa, credits. Here's $150 million.
But you saw where that $150 million went. That $150 million went to building some of the coolest fucking cars I've seen in my life.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's what I loved about it.
That shit looked awesome. And my personal favorite was the war, I'm gonna refer to it as the party bus. That car where like the whole back of it had like 6 guys like banging on these fucking drums, and then the camera kind of swivels to the front of it, and you see this giant wall of speakers, and there's a guy held on by wires, like strapped to this front of this thing with wires, with a electric guitar that shot fire out of it, and he's playing metal. And I'm like, I was in the theater, and I'm sure I probably kind of had some people turn heads, but I saw that. I'm in the theater and I was like, that's fucking awesome. Out loud.
When I first saw it, that was kind of my reaction. I was like, that's awesome. I'm pretty sure I even said out loud, that's awesome. But at points in the movie, I kind of like forgot about it being there, and they always brought it back. Like you'd hear like the
they really did. And you hear it, like you hear the fucking dum 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 dum.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so badass. I saw it and I was like, oh my god, dude! If I was driving next to that car, I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna fuck these people up. Dude took the guy's wives, and I don't care. This guy's on my side.
But yeah, like you'd hear the music and you wouldn't see the guitar, and like I actually forgot that was going on, but they always brought it back. I'm like, oh yeah, fucking right. Somebody's actually playing all this music while this is going on.
I know, and fire's shooting out of it. He's fucking shooting. He's playing metal. All right, he's sitting there. He's like do 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 do, and fire is shooting out of the top of his guitar.
I feel like somehow, like if you became a warlord, like that would be your first action. It's like, all right, we need some dude that's blind to play the guitar and a bunch of people beating on some drums.
Yeah, and I'm sure, and everybody would be like, that's why he's the boss.
Yeah,
that's why he's in charge, because that's what he wants to build.
He wants you to know, coming 3 miles away, that he's on his way. This guy with 37 speakers behind him.
Like, I saw that and my dick got hard. Like, I was like, that's fucking awesome. And then, every single time, there was a buddy that went and saw the movie with me, and every single time the camera kind of went back to the guy playing guitar, I was like, "That's sweet." I was like, I was like, "Look at that." Every single time the camera went, I turned to my buddy and I was like, "That's awesome."
That's what I've seen bits and pieces of the old Mad Max movies, but it always seems like it's just that extreme like metal, apocalyptic, situation that they play really heavy on.
It's that whole like, like very, it's I would say I mean, I guess to compare it to anything, the first thing that comes to my mind is like a game like Fallout 3,
Yeah.
where it's that kind of like that wasteland kind of, society and whatever. But honestly, I mean, to me, seems a lot like a lot edgier than even that world. Than like the whole than a world like Fallout 3. It seems a lot edgier because it's a lot more like gritty. Which is I mean, how do you make a wasteland setting more gritty? Apparently, you put George Miller in charge of it.
Well, you kind of go to I mean, they alluded to it just a little bit, but I mean, you have this wasteland, but each society is known for their own thing. Like you had the gasland that basically had control over some type of oil reserve or something because they were providing
Right.
gas. The I can't remember what his name was in the movie, but the toe cutter guy, he had control over water, so he was able to.
It was like Immortan Joe.
Yeah, Morton and Joe or something like that. He had control over water, so he was able to, get food and everything like that. And then you had this other group that, somehow had control to make bullets. So it's like this, it's like, and I want to talk about this. There's a fan theory I heard about that I read before going into it and made it sound really, really, really interesting if they go down this route. I don't think they are, but it was pretty cool. But, this is like way into the future from the original Mad Max, as it seems, because society's collapsed, but it's building itself up again, post-apocalyptic, scenario, because you got all these people who have control of their own things. There's commerce going
Right.
on. And seems like even further, apocalyptic situation than the original Mad Max's.
Yeah. The thing, I mean, say what you want, but I'm all for fucking explosions, and there was explosions aplenty, and there was a guy that was playing fucking electric guitar that shot fire out of it. Like that's what I can't get past.
So say what you will about like this being a man's man movie. Furiosa and everything, just like really like strong woman, Joss Whedon style, like a girl taking control of their own destiny and just saying fuck you to a dude that's a dictator. We're getting the fuck out of here.
Right. And I mean, I think we both kind of said it went kind of feminist towards the end, like, and I think that's something we kind of skipped over in the story part too, is that like they meet that group and like apparently like they all hate men.
Yeah,
Because like,
they
like
do.
at one point they're shooting it's like one bullet, one man. I'm like, whoa! I was like, why are we gunning for the dudes here?
Yeah, they show. I love the part. So they show up and Max is driving the rig, and the ladies in the tower naked yelling for help. And his just first reaction like, "That's a trap."
Yeah, he's like that right there is bait.
But yeah, it's like this whole group of women, a gang of women, and it was weird whenever they're like, I didn't know if they're going to go down some different path with this, but like they were investigating these brides almost like cattle. They're like looking at their teeth, and the one girl touched the other one. She smacked her hand. There's like an awkward laughter. So I don't know if there was some undertone to that wasn't really explored, but it almost seemed like I was expecting like a twist to this story where they'd like take these women back and they were like basically going to breed them just the same.
Yeah,
I don't know if you caught that.
maybe. I mean,
caught
who
that
knows?
or not.
Also, one thing, there was like all these little moments that I was just like, that's cool. Where the dude's rolling through the desert on the or through the like the mud and stuff on what I honestly I thought was the second coolest car. The looked like a Dodge Charger on tank treads.
Oh yeah, that was badass.
And that dude pulled a bullet. He had bullets for teeth.
Yeah.
And he pulls one out and fucking loads a gun with it. I'm like, damn. I'm like, I don't know how to react to that, but okay.
You just be careful what he eats. If he bites down too hard, he'll blow his brains out.
Yeah, that's true. That's dangerous. I like sleeping with and then he's got women. They're like, I want to sleep with danger.
They have nipple rings in, so he's got to be careful with that. Blow their boobs
right?
out.
And then they're like, don't go down on me. Don't do it.
He's like, no, I put the vibrating bullets in. It'll be all good. So the fan theory that I heard, I'm curious what you think about this. Since you've seen all three of the original Mad Maxes, right?
Yes, the Rogue Warrior, Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome, and now Mad Max Fury Road.
Well, then there's the original Mad Max, which is that I just started watching. I got about 3/4 the way through it. It's from my understanding, it doesn't really tie into the other two, and this new one,
Right?
Okay,
Yeah.
but
the stories, I don't know. Like, the stories seem kind of. The stories are kind of connected. I would say that this one is very far removed from all of them. I would say it's like not really so much a reboot because it's while it has one of the same characters, like it's a completely different story, and they don't really like tie into anything too much from the other ones, except for maybe like in just certain words and phrases they say.
Okay, so on that, let me feed you this fan theory I heard. I can't remember what it was. I think I saw it on Reddit, but so the fan theory goes like this. So, in the very beginning, when he first runs into Ferosa and all them, he doesn't really speak right away. He does more grunting.
Okay.
And when she asks what his name is, I believe he says something to the effect of like, it doesn't matter. He doesn't tell her what his name is.
Right.
So the fan theory out there, which if they go this route, like that would just blow my mind and be awesome because it would just kind of tie everything in together. The fan theory is that the boy from one of the originals that only grunted, like befriended Mad Max,
Okay.
is the Tom Hardy character. So the kid that was grunting that knew the original Mad Max has basically became Mad Max. And that's why at the very end, when she's Fiorusa's about ready to die, he says, "My name's Max." He's like, "That's my name. I'm Max."
Oh.
I know Miller's come out and says like, "Well, this doesn't, I made this vague in the timing of everything because this is just another, legend of Mad Max. So, it might have happened, it may not have happened." So he left it really vague
and
on
also,
what he meant.
Okay, I will like, okay, how do they, because like throughout the entire movie, which is honestly, this is something I'm surprised that we haven't said anything about yet. Throughout the entire movie, he's having these like hallucinations, like basically going crazy. I would say that he's gone crazy to a point.
Well, and like that girl in the faces that you see, like none of those were any of those in the original movies, or were those new things?
I honestly don't remember. I'm at this point I'm probably gonna have to go back and watch the other ones because it's been forever. Like this is I probably haven't seen any of them in the last like 10 years at least. So it's super hard for me to recall the other movies at this right now. Honestly, the only thing I really remember is Master Blaster, because how can you forget Master Blaster? Master Blaster.
So, but like I read that fan theory going in, so I was kind of looking at it with that eye, which it may not even be that way because I know they have Tom Hardy for another Mad Max coming out. So
right, and like at this point, like I don't care what he does, because if he does anything close to what I just saw, I'm down with it.
It took them 18 months to make this movie. So unless they
let's be honest. It took a lot longer when you consider the space in between. Like the last movie. Here's a fucked up thing. The last movie George Miller actually made was Happy Feet 2.
I know. How messed up is that?
Like, this is the guy that made Happy Feet 2. He made Babe and Babe a Pig in the City.
Well, I think he was like producer on Babe, but he was the director on Babe too.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean, granted, he did make the original, Mad Max and and the Rogue Warrior and stuff like that, but like over the last like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it's been Babe and Babe 2 and Happy Feet 2, like, and then like 10 years later he turns around and he comes out with this fucking thing.
Well, yeah, that just screams to me like some guy that paid his dues, making the movies he didn't really want to make, and he's getting to where he's 70 years old. He's getting close to where he's going to be done. He's like, listen, I'm not making these movies that are just cash cows. I want to make my movie, and somehow he talked him into giving him $150 million. I haven't seen
That's what I want to know. I want to know how the fuck, what voodoo magic did this man work to convince Warner Brothers to give him $150 million? Like, how do you think that meeting went? Like, he walked in and he's like, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get Tom Hardy, which you guys like Tom Hardy, right? And all the executives kind of nod. Yeah, I like Tom Hardy. Yeah, he was Bane. He was in Inception. Like,
yeah, he's a homegrown guy. We like him.
Yeah, we like that guy. Okay, so I'm gonna put him, and for the first 30 minutes, we're gonna tie him to the front of a car. He's not really gonna do much. Like the star of the movie, we're just gonna strap him to the front of the car, and we're gonna put this grill on his face, and he's that's his life for the first like half of this movie, basically. Okay, then I'm going to take your $150 million. I'm going to build these giant fuck-off cars that are basically tanks. And then I'm going to go into the desert. I'm not sure where. Maybe Australia, maybe not, maybe who knows. We're going to go off into the middle of the desert and we're going to blow all this shit up.
Their first question is like, well, is this going to be like, a 3-month shoot, maybe 4? He's like, no, 18 months, a year and a half.
A year and a half. We're going to spend a year and a half in the desert filming all these cars blowing up. So that's what your money's going to go to.
They're like, okay, we want to have.
What the fuck? Like, who? Like, I mean, God bless the man that signed off on this.
Well, think about the next question, though. So they asked, like, so how many lines is Tom Hardy going to have in this movie? 150, 200, 300 lines? You're like, no, about like 12, maybe 15. He's not really going to say much.
They're like, here's the script. And they're like, this is a pamphlet. He's like, no, it's the script. It folds out.
So Tom Hardy says, and we should go back. Yeah, basically.
I mean, like I said, like, God bless the person that actually signed off on giving him the money to do this. Before he did, I'm like, honestly, like, for me, I'd be like, what the like, are we serious about this? Like, this is basically like the luckiest man in the world. It's like giving, I don't know, it's like giving some indie film director this enormous fucking budget, and they're like, okay, we want, go shoot your movie for the next 18 months.
Well, I think they have Tom Hardy signed on for at least 2, I think 3 of these movies. So not only did he get sign off for this first one, but I think he's got sign off for 2 more, which, I mean, you think, oh my gosh, that's crazy he was able to get this first one greenlit, but there's 2 other ones in the works.
Well, and honestly, like, the fact that, I mean, like, he made this one, and this one, not only is it a good, I mean, like, I loved it. Not only is it a good movie, but it's also doing well. I mean, yeah, it's a $150 million budget, but I don't know what the numbers, but I know this movie's made well over that so far. I mean, it's doing well. We're not talking like billions. It's not the Avengers, but I mean, it's doing well.
Yeah, I just pulled this up to see. Right now, it's at $115 million box office.
It's made 115.
Yeah, at the box office. And it's been out.
Okay.
It's been out 3 weeks, and I don't know if
Yeah,
that
I
that
mean, but
that might.
are those just U.S. numbers? I mean, you
Yeah,
factor in.
that I think those might just be domestic. So you can add, another 80 to 100 million, maybe. I'm not sure, but yeah, I
So
mean,
yeah,
it's gonna do okay, and you're gonna have more people coming to check out the next one for sure.
yeah. I mean, honestly, I think. I mean, doesn't this totally sets George Miller up for him to go in and be like, "All right, give me another 150 million, and I'll see you in another 2 years."
I know, and I'm kind of curious because Tom Hardy didn't really feel. I love Tom Hardy. I'm a huge Tom Hardy fan. Besides the Bane character, everything else I've really seen him in, he's done like really, really well.
Well, they were gonna put him in. He was gonna be in a Suicide Squad.
Yeah, he was going to be Deadshot, wasn't he?
I think maybe Deadshot. I don't remember who he was gonna be. I know they were gonna put him in. I know he he was gonna be in there, but then he kind of backed out. I don't remember which character though.
I know with this movie, because it didn't feel like he had a really strong, like, I mean, he didn't have much dialogue. We know that. It was seriously like 25, 30 lines of dialogue that he had.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know he's already come out and apologized because as they were making this movie, I don't know if just because it was Warner Brothers and he's really tied into Warner Brothers that they just kind of snuck him into this. So it was kind of a,
Uh-huh.
the Bruce Willis type thing where it was just kind of a money grab for him. But
Oh, I see.
yeah, but he said while he was out there, he didn't really understand what was going on with this movie. Like he couldn't grasp like the part he was playing. But
Well, I
after
mean, I would get that. Like, if I was him, I'd be like, "What the fuck are we doing? Like, we've been in the middle of the desert for the last year. Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, I see a bunch of cars driving around, and I mean, for me personally, I'm having kind of a light day in terms of trying to find the scene, but
I'm either chasing somebody or being chased or pointing a gun. That's all I'm doing. But he's, I mean, he said he's like, I just didn't really see what was going on. But when he actually saw the movie, he came out and apologized. Like, yeah, I'm sorry I didn't bring my A game for this. But like now that I've seen the movie, I understand what's going on. So hopefully with
oh,
that, like in the next one, if it's more focused on him, more focused on Mad Max, he can
yeah.
bring so much more to the table. Because I don't know if because of how his acting happened on this, that's why it pulled more away from him to Furiosa. I don't think so
Right.
because it does
I
seem
mean,
like it's
honestly,
more.
the movie. I mean, to compare it to something kind of like that, I would compare it to something, say, like Pitch Black, where I mean, like Vin Diesel is Riddick, and I mean, if we're talking about Pitch Black, like Riddick is the cool part of that movie, but he's not necessarily the central part of that movie.
Yeah, you can watch Pitch Black or you can watch Riddick separate from each other.
I mean, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I liked Pitch Black, and I liked Riddick. I thought Riddick Riddick was the coolest one of the, if not the coolest part of that movie. But I mean, I would say that the movie wasn't Riddick centric.
Oh shit! So think about this. So let's say Mad Max didn't exist, the originals, because that's what they're going to get stuck on as the brand. If this was like a Pitch Black movie, or it's an original idea, and they call it just Fury Road, this would spawn off a Furiosa movie.
Oh yeah.
Like how Riddick kind of spawned off? That's what you would get. You would get a one-armed badass chick like controlling this empire. She would go from
Yeah.
controlling the water and the food to going over and taking over from the dictators of the gas, going over and
Oh,
taking from the
oh,
dictators of the bullets.
oh, here we go. Here, this will blow your mind. Okay. So her name, Charlize Theron, is playing Furiosa. That's her character's name. Riddick is from the planet Furia.
Oh shit. Crossover.
And they keep like throughout the whole Pitch Black kind of that whole universe thing, like they call him like the Furian, or they refer to him as a Furian. Holy shit.
Yeah. So basically, the apocalypse that started the Mad Max franchise was that group of aliens that came down from in the Riddick movies. Is that what you're trying to say?
Oh, the necromongers.
Yeah. Tying this shit back. Is Riddick owned by Warner
Oh.
Brothers? Who owns Riddick?
I'm not sure.
It's
I think
probably
Vin Diesel's making another one.
that sounds really really familiar. No, did he just made it? He just made a new one. Wasn't it called Riddick?
It was called Riddick, and actually, I thought it was. I liked it. I liked it more than the Chronicles of Riddick, which is the last one.
So you like the middle one better?
No, I'm saying I like this new one better.
Oh yeah. The
than
one
the
where
last one.
it's like post him being the king or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the latest one where like he's like stranded on a planet and
Yeah, I thought that was pretty
some
good.
mercenaries show up and
He fucks them all up, and
yeah.
yeah, I didn't think that was too bad.
So
But I mean, Charlize Theron though, I mean, she was the one that really stole the show on this. I didn't know she was one armed until I was actually at the movie too. I don't know if you
I
knew about
didn't
that.
either.
Okay.
I totally didn't either, and I think that whole thing was kind of CGI put in.
Oh,
like
yeah.
the robotic arm and stuff. Like, well,
I
I don't
don't-
want people to think I'm some sort of idiot that's like, you motherfucker, like she has both her arms, like that was CGI, you dumbass. I understand that that the arm was CGI. Okay,
She's not that committed. She's not that much of a method actor that she'd cut off her own arm
I
for
mean
a part.
she does have an Oscar.
That she won for Monster, right?
Yeah.
Which that's a good movie. Funny story about that movie. I don't know if anybody knows, but that she plays the first recorded female serial killer or the first United States serial killer.
No, not the first United States serial killer.
Female serial killer. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I think that's
Okay.
what it is. It's something like that. First convicted or something. But I watched that movie with my my girlfriend in high school and her parents, or her mom at least. And the scene where she kind of goes from, prostitute to crazy when the dude's just like, oh yeah, that was awkward. That was very, very awkward. But she's she's attractive and she's an amazing actor. I
Yeah.
would watch anything she's in.
She shaved her head for this one, and she looks cool, and she's she's got that kind of like hard ass mentality, and I liked it. I liked Charlize Theron in this movie.
And again, going back to the story where like the actions show more when they pull in and she finds her tribe that she was a part of that she was like basically taken away from.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, let's go to the Greenland. I want to see, I brought all these people to go to the Greenland. They're like, well, you went through it. And, the dead silent scene of her walking out towards the desert, hitting her knees and just screaming. It's like, oh my goodness. Like that just,
Right.
so much right in there.
that was her moment. That was her Oscar moment. I'm down. Give her one. Why not? She cut off her arm for this movie.
Yeah, she did.
See, it seems like we keep going back to the story, which, I mean, I've said what I've said about the story, but for me, the story serves as an excuse to drive these fucking cars around and blow them up, which is awesome. They had dudes. There were dudes on poles.
Yeah, bouncing back and forth.
Oh my god! And and that's like that's the point I was making about like when you know that like a good chunk of this movie is shot practically. Like I'm sitting there and I'm thinking, holy shit, those are real motherfuckers on the ends of those poles, swinging around and jumping off of fucking cars.
Well, I think that's the part of like the explosions. Like you look at the scene from The Dark Knight where they actually blew up that building.
Yeah,
I mean, you kind of get that. You really can, I think, tell the difference. And in these, you saw those explosions, and you're like, they just felt so real. Like you just almost felt the heat of the explosion hitting you in the face.
I mean, like I'm a fan of, I mean, you take a movie like The Avengers. I love The Avengers. And there's a lot of visual effects, obviously, because we're talking about a fucking army of robots and, and this, that, and the other. But I mean, the fact that that there is a person that went and shot a movie, almost completely practically by saying, you know what, let's actually try and do this. Let's build these fucking cars and let's make it work. Like, I mean, like the fucking the dude playing guitar on top of that fucking rig, like that's real. So a human being built that fucking car and strapped another human being to it and gave him a guitar, a real guitar that shoots fucking fire out of the top of it. Are you kidding me?
So you'll love this. So there is a guy who is basically like a stunt driver who was in this movie. And he said, like, this is the last time I'm doing this. I think he did something with the big semi. And he got his start
like
on,
the what they call it, the war rig.
Yeah, it was something where two of them hit together or something like that. So, he's a professional stunt driver. Has been doing this for, crap ton of years. His first movie was the original Mad Max, I believe, or the second Mad Max or something. So it tied both.
So that was
together.
His first one. And you're saying this one is his last one?
Yeah,
he's like his last one.
He's like, this is how I'm going to finish it. I'm going to do it on this, and then I'm done. I'm going to retire from stunt driving. So that's like the George Miller thing. I mean, he started out with these movies, and this is I'm not sure what he's going to end up with. I mean, hopefully he's around for another 30, 40 years. I mean, he is 70, so it's not realistic.
Yeah, he is 70. I mean, like at this point, like aren't I mean, this is maybe just me, but like I'm just like, holy shit, you're 70. Like, could you make one more, like really quick? Like, well, I don't know if like you want to retire or whatnot, but like, could you make another one like super fast, please?
Well, announced is Mad Max: The Wasteland. So I don't know when that's going to come out, but that is announced, at least from IMDb. But I mean, realistically, I mean, like we said, these are 10-page scripts, so he could probably knock out quite a few. He's like, this time they get in boats and they go this way for a little bit. Shit blows up. They go this way. Come back. Credits.
Yeah. And it was fucking beautiful.
It was. I mean, like I said, like what I loved is the story behind this was, it wasn't handed to on your plate. Like, we all could get a really good idea of what was going on. And you could just enjoy the beautiness of this, all these explosions, all this stuff happening. And I mean, it was just really good. I really, really enjoyed it.
Yeah. And okay. Oh, the point I was making about the effects is like, this is a motherfucker that's like, let's build these cars. Let's physically do these things and put them in a real setting and do shit to them. And then we'll capture it on camera. And I mean, I'm sorry, but I think that adds something to it. I guess another example. Okay, I'll go back to Lord of the Rings. Okay, like when you see the Tower of Ulthanc, or when you see the Tower of Barad-dûr, or Helm's, like a wide shot of Helm's Deep or something like that. Like, that was a physical thing. I mean, obviously they didn't construct a fucking 3,000-foot tower. They built miniatures, but they built these super detailed miniatures because even Peter said, he's like, you can make this, as a CG creation, but it adds something when you build a physical thing and shoot it and capture it on film.
Well, that's as
and
real.
It does.
It
does. I mean, you can say I love special effects. I'm not trying to take away from it, but I think there's something to be said by actually building a thing and putting a camera in front of that thing and then shooting it.
Well, like you said, it's a detailed miniature. These things are actually exploding. I mean, special effects and things are like really, really amazing right now. But, 15 years ago, you look at a video game at that time, you're like, oh my God, this looks almost like, it's real. And then you look 2 years later, like, this thing looks like shit compared to what we have now.
Yeah.
So you build these miniatures with that much detail, it's gonna look as good now as it will 10 years in the future because it's actually a thing. You know, the
Right.
camera quality is gonna get better, but, you know, it's a thing. It's real, and that, you know, you can't, you know, technology is always gonna catch up to that, and, you know, it's always gonna look a little bit better. I mean, like, you look at Avengers, for example. The whole scene in the opening where Thor's fighting those things, it looks like a video game. It looks, you can tell it's fake.
Right.
You know, so in 15 years from now, like, you watch that and you're like, oh my God, that looks so unrealistic compared to whatever we have 15 years from now. But you go back and
Right.
look at,
It's like if we all go back and watch I don't know, like take some sort of movie from the 80s, you know, and what they considered the cutting edge of visual effects. I mean, okay, perfect example. Like I'll give you okay, this is going to kind of hurt my heart a bit. But you take Star Wars, and I'll use a very small example from Star Wars. In episode 4, when they bring R2 to the rebel base to get the plans for the Death Star, and they plug that thing into him, and you see like the little the little tiny computer screen, and it comes up with that 3D kind of model of the Death Star. Like, that was 1977. Like, that's what we got.
okay.
And compare that to like a 3D model in the first Avengers where Tony, you know, puts up the tower and is like spinning it with his hands and he's moving it around and shit. Or the first Iron Man where he's taking designs and like he has it like in this like interface in front of his face and he's like moving stuff and with his hands.
Okay, so take that example. So 77, you watch that movie today, you see that little thing pop up, and it might take you out just a tiny bit because you're like, oh, that, you know, that's the technology of the day. Let's jump
Right.
back 2 years before that and look at the movie that we love to bring up in as many episodes as we can. Let's look at Jaws. They used a robotic looking shark, and they used real sharks in some scenes. And you watch that movie today, I don't know, I haven't watched it in a few years, but it's probably, you know, holds up just as strongly now as it did then.
Right. I mean, okay. There you go. Like, the model for that didn't totally work for most of the scenes, except for a couple. So in some that you just saw the fin. Okay. But that's a thing.
Yeah,
I mean, no, it
exactly.
wasn't a real shark fin in some cases. It was like or even the animatronic shark. Like, that was a physical thing. And while, yeah, you know, on some close-ups it might look like something out of fucking the, you know, the ride from It's a Small World, but that was a thing, and it kind of holds up at a distance.
Yeah. I mean, there's the part where he's eating the boat captain. I mean, that might pull me a little bit out of it today, but still, I mean, like you said, the fins are there. And let's just go even a little further. Like, you look at the original Ninja Turtles movie in the HD now, or the high definition, you can see like inside their mouths. But, you know, you look at what was just created. I mean, 20 years from now, do you think that's going to look very fake and not good compared to the technology we'll have in the future?
Right. So you're saying, yeah, I mean, I understand your point. With the advances in technology, is what looks good today going to look good tomorrow? And in some cases, no.
And I don't know. I mean, that's, you know, every
So maybe
time.
so I think we're both trying to say there's something to be said for taking a step backwards and like relying on the ingenuity and the craftsmanship of very talented people that built a fucking car with a giant ass wall of fucking speakers and the dude that played guitar that shot fire out of it.
And they even threw it in like when the big crash happened. I mean, this was completely CGI, but the last thing you see of all the shit, you know, blowing up from this vehicle is the guitar coming at you, which I think was thrown in for 3D, but, you know, still.
I think so too. Which, I mean, like to me, I mean, honestly, there were like I'm sitting there, I'm watching it, and like points where you could kind of where you could see CG effects. It kind of almost took you out of it for a minute because you were used to seeing so much real
Yeah, like the whole guitar thing.
that
You're
when
like,
something
yeah,
came up that was done in a computer, then it almost kind of like it was a bit jarring.
which sucks. Do you think a lot of that was done more for the 3D? So like the guitar and all like those things coming out more towards the screen, that's for like the 3D effect that
I'm
they.
sure some of it was. I mean, I saw the 2D version. I'm not totally hip on 3D. I actually I have my own issues with my eyes, which is why I'm not totally hip on 3D going to see 3D shows. I mean, I'll go and it doesn't like take me out. It doesn't super take me out of it or anything. It's just that 3D effects don't really seem to be that big on me as it is to other people. Like I'm not sitting in the theater like dodging left, dodging right.
Yeah, I always feel like it's just a gimmick. So like I'm more big on story or show me something cool. 3D is a gimmick to me, so like it doesn't excite me. Like I don't go to see stuff coming at me. I go for like the
Right.
film or the stuff in the movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though, yeah, and like that's kind of odd when you think about it, because like this movie really excited me, but it was more of a visual eye candy movie when you think about it, with the explosions and all the stuff going on. Like there, like you said, like we've said, there isn't
But
much of a
in a good
story.
way. It was.
Oh
It
yeah,
was visual eye candy in a good way. I'll give you a perfect example, and you will totally agree with me on this. Perfect example of bad visual eye candy, Sucker Punch.
yes, oh yeah,
Which, I mean, that movie also, the plot's very linear and simple, but they put in a lot of CG eye candy. And this was like coming off of a movie like this was coming off the craze, I think, that came off of 300, where like you watch 300 and you see like all this badass shit going on. And
Is that
so I think somebody tried to take that and they're like, well, let's just do more of that. We'll do more of that and then it will be more better. That's where I'm making up phrases. It'll be more better if we put in more of this.
well? I wonder if with Sucker Punch it was kind of more of an fu, because when you saw the trailers, it seemed like there was a really deep story, but then it was just it
Yeah.
was just visual. But with like the
Like
Max
I saw
Payne,
that I
or
was
not Max
super
Payne.
psyched after seeing the trailer. I mean, that was one of those
Yeah.
movies where I saw the trailer and I was like, that movie looks fucking awesome. And then you saw the movie and you were like, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
Like, this is bait and switch shenanigans. I actually didn't see it that movie in the theater. I watched it at home and I couldn't finish it. I actually did not finish that movie.
Yeah, I saw it. I saw it in theaters and was excited to see it, because like I mean you get the in the trailer the storyline of it's these girls in this insane asylum. So like in my head it's like, oh my gosh, all these things that are happening, they're happening to them as they're in this insane asylum. So that's how they're visualizing it. Not, they go
Right.
into this weird trance, and it just, yeah, like after that first little bit, like it completely took me out of it.
Yeah, it just I and I mean, you could put all the visual effects in there you wanted. It just didn't do it for me. I completely just wasn't interested. I didn't care about these people. I didn't care about the characters. I and it lost me. So eye candy, while eye candy is great, and it like that movie had dragons in it if I remember correctly. It
Yeah,
had
yeah.
dragons and fucking samurai sword fights and shit. All great, but it wasn't enough to save it. But then this movie, which I would say that I mean, plot wise is I mean, not simple, but not overly deep, and has eye candy and stuff like that. But this movie fucking works.
Well, and I think you expected it. Like you saw the trailer and you're like, okay, this is going to be a lot of explosions. I'm not sure if there's going to be much story, but what you get is it's a really deep story, but it doesn't come out and tell you it's a deep story. It's like you have to think of all this stuff. because it's like there's the different civilizations going on. There's there's this commerce going on. Like there's a lot of detail. It just doesn't come out and tell you that.
Right. And I mean, I think part of that they're maybe relying on, hey, you've seen other movies, you've seen movies similar to this based in this world, like pull from that. Or,
yeah, exactly.
Hey, like you're not an idiot. Like they're in the middle of the desert. What do they need? They need water. What else do they need? They need gas to drive around these fucking cars.
But yeah, my final thoughts is I really liked it. I don't know if I'd go see it again in theaters. If it was on, I might check it out. But I thought it was a good flick.
I actually probably wouldn't mind seeing this again in the theater. Maybe like just to see stuff I missed, maybe because I was busy looking at one thing, I missed another thing. I don't know.
Yeah, if I rewatched the originals and went back, that might be worth it.
But I might go. I will say, like, I would definitely go see this in a theater at least once because,
yeah, definitely.
I mean, we're talking about a movie that has giant fucking explosions and giant fucking cars and all this other cool shit. Like, tell me you don't want to see that on a giant ass screen with giant ass surround sound speakers.
Well, I guess on that, let's. Do you have any Richard's closing thoughts to kind of tie us up on this?
The dude had a guitar that shot flames out of it. Oh, so fucking cool. Oh, so cool.
All right. Well, I guess I will do a little housekeeping. We'll close her out a little bit. All right. Go to our website. We're at languageofbromance.com. Follow us on Twitter at languageofbro. Email us at eatthebeaver@languageofbromance.com. Like us on Facebook and leave us a review and subscribe on iTunes and Stitcher. And also, where can they find us in this deserted wasteland of podcasts, Richard?
That would be on the Pod Brothers Network, the only oasis you're going to find in the wasteland.
The most metal podcast network out there. Also, next week, I don't know if you know this, Richard, but next week, we're going to be celebrating a little anniversary.
Oh... What anniversary is this? Do we have to eat? We eat the cake I bought that's in the freezer, right?
Yeah. We're gonna feed it to each other. We're gonna drink a little champagne. We're gonna relive that day just like our first. Next week is our 1 year anniversary, our 52nd episode coming out on the exact day, the 21st of June, that our first episode ever came out.
Really?
Yeah.
That's convenient.
I know. It's kind of because we've been releasing on Sundays. I released the first one on a Saturday because it takes a few days to get picked up and everything. But that was the first day it got picked up. So 1 year anniversary, the 21st, is going to be the day we release our 52nd episode. What we want from our audience, our listeners, if this will be, you've got about 7 days, probably 6 really, because I got to get it in there. Send us your audio.
We want you to build a car that has a wall of speakers and a guy that shoots flame, and then I want you to put me inside it, and we're going to take pictures.
If any of our listeners can do that, you will be our third member of this podcast, because obviously
I will give you, hang on, I will give you $5.
I will give you all the bumper stickers you want.
We'll put one on the back.
Yeah. But yeah, we want you guys to send us your audio, so if you can get it into us, we'd love to have you guys as part of the show.
Yeah. Send us anything you want. Send us an audio clip about how awesome we are or how much we suck.
Yeah, if you hate us.
I'm fine with that. And I hate you guys. I download you every week so I can yell at my computer or my iPod or my MP3 player. I just scream at it.
And you know what? You say eat the beaver. I say no. I say no to eat the beaver.
Yeah. maybe they're very against eating the beaver.
And I say, well, I'm sorry to be your girlfriend or fiance or whatever. Like, well, I'm gay, right. So it's like, oh, well, touche.
And also, how could you not like doing it? I mean, this is for the ladies out there. How could you not like it? I mean... Well, actually, this isn't for the ladies. This is for the men. For my fellow bros. How could you not like it? It's wonderful. It's wonderful, and yeah. all sorts of other things that I probably shouldn't describe.
I don't know, but if we were in a wasteland of Mad Max, I mean, that might be a little rough, a little sandy, a little sweaty.
Ooh.
I don't know. That might still be hot. Who knows? All right. Well, anything else before I
Any
close her
port
out?
in a storm.
All right. Well, anything else before I close her out?
I no shit no.
All right. Well, that's all the bromance we have for this show. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Richard.
And I say, we eat the beaver. Oh, what a lovely day.